Have you ever felt completely drained after a conversation with someone, but couldn't quite explain why? Or maybe you found yourself questioning your own reality, your worth, or even your sanity, all because of someone else's behavior. Today, we're unpacking 5 of the most toxic behavior types you'll run into in everyday life. The narcissist, the chronic victim, the manipulator, the control freak, and the passive-aggressive. We're going to break down how they operate, give real-life examples, and most importantly, show you how to protect your mental and emotional space. A narcissist isn't just someone who loves selfies or brags a lot. True narcissistic behavior is rooted in a deep need for admiration, a lack of empathy, and often a fragile ego underneath a confident surface. A narcissist often has a grandiose sense of self-importance. They believe they're unique or better than others. There's a constant need for attention and validation. To maintain their sense of superiority, they manipulate or devalue others. My friend Sam dated someone who checked every narcissist box. At first, the guy was charming, attentive, even romantic. But soon, Sam realized everything had to revolve around his achievements, his friends, his problems. When Sam landed a promotion, he said, "Oh, they probably just needed to fill a quota." That's when she realized he couldn't stand her being seen as successful, unless it reflected on him. Have you ever been with someone who made everything about them, even when it had nothing to do with them? Let me know in the comments. I want to hear your stories. You start doubting your value unless they approve. They react with rage or coldness when criticized. You feel invisible unless you're feeding their ego. Stop over-explaining or defending yourself. Set clear boundaries. Understand you'll never win with them emotionally. This one's tricky. Everyone goes through hardship, but the chronic victim mindset is different. They weaponize suffering to avoid accountability or manipulate others into caretaking them emotionally. Blames others or the universe for their issues. Never takes ownership. Uses guilt to control others. Constant "why me?" attitude. Taylor had a coworker named Jenna. Jenna was late to every meeting and never met a deadline. But if you asked about it, it was always, "Well, you know my life is just so hard right now." After 6 months of covering for her, Taylor started to feel like the bad guy for wanting accountability. That's what chronic victims do. They twist empathy into obligation. You constantly feel guilty around them. They never apologize, or if they do, it's followed with an excuse. You're solving their problems more than your own. Offer support, not solutions. Stop rescuing, let them own their stuff, hold firm on expectations. Manipulators thrive on confusion and control. They twist facts, lie by omission, and pull emotional strings to get what they want. Gaslighting, making you question your memory or reality, withholding affection to control you, using charm strategically, subtle guilt trips or threats. Jason started dating someone who was incredible. Romantic, attentive, intense. Within weeks, they were inseparable. But then the emotional game started. If he didn't reply fast enough, She'd go cold and say things like, "I just thought I mattered more to you." When he made plans with friends, she'd cry or disappear for hours. Eventually, Jason realized he was no longer making choices for himself. He was constantly managing her reactions. If this story hits home, take a second to check in with yourself. This kind of manipulation isn't love. It's control dressed up in emotional chaos. You feel like you're always walking on eggshells. You change your behavior to avoid their moods. Conversations leave you feeling confused or guilty. Call out inconsistencies calmly. Set emotional boundaries. I'm not okay with guilt tripping. Consider distancing if change doesn't happen. The control freak believes there's only one right way, theirs. Control gives them security, but it strips others of autonomy. Obsessive planning or micromanaging, harsh reactions to spontaneity, criticizes others' decisions, may seem helpful, but it's rooted in fear or superiority. Lena had a roommate named Chris. Chris needed the dishes loaded a specific way, the curtains opened at a specific angle, and if Lena moved something, she'd find it fixed later, with a passive-aggressive comment. Chris wasn't trying to be mean. He just needed control to feel okay. But living in that environment made Lena feel like a guest in her own home. You stop doing things your way to avoid drama. They correct everything, even small things. You feel small or incompetent around them. Be direct, not defensive. I do things differently, and that's okay. Push back on perfectionism. Reclaim your autonomy in small ways. Passive-aggressive people express negative feelings indirectly, through sarcasm, withdrawal, or quiet sabotage, rather than open communication. Backhanded compliments. Wow, you actually did a good job. Silent treatment, deliberate procrastination, plays innocent but seethes underneath. Sophie's partner would never admit when he was mad. Instead, he'd say, "I'm fine," but then forget to pick her up from work or accidentally leave out things that were important to her. It wasn't yelling, it was subtle punishment. When it comes to passive-aggressive behavior, there are a few telltale signs to watch for. First, their tone doesn't match their words. You might notice that you feel like you're constantly apologizing, even when you haven't done anything wrong. And they often deny being upset but act out in subtle ways. Recognizing these signs can help you address the behavior more effectively. Call out the contradiction gently. You say you're fine, but it seems like something's bothering you. Encourage direct communication. Set a boundary. I can't engage with mixed signals. We either talk about it or we move on. You don't have to diagnose anyone. You just need to recognize patterns and decide what kind of energy you'll accept in your life. You're not overreacting. Patterns are real. Toxic behaviors don't always look toxic at first. You can be compassionate without being a doormat. Boundaries aren't walls, they're filters. If this video helped you feel seen, drop a comment or share your own story. Subscribe if you want more content about emotional intelligence, healing, and self-protection. And most importantly, protect your peace. You deserve it.